Hi everyone, this is Noah Sandler from MTGOcademy.com, and today we're going to be doing Magic Origins 8.4. So let's jump into queue. Okay, so in this pack there's some nice blue and white flyers: Stalwart Haven, Thunderclap Wyvern, Towergeist, Leaf Gilder, Citadel Castellan. These are all pretty strong cards. I'm just going to take the Fiery Impulse. It might just be the best card in the pack, and it's the only red card, so I mean, at least in this pack we're passing a lot of blue and white and not passing any red. I'll just take an Mtgo Husk, I think. Wild Instincts is also good. In a vacuum, Instincts is probably better than Husk, so it makes it a close pick. I do think that red-black, like sack theme, is just a lot better than red-green. So I think I'm just going to take the Husk here. I mean, I am letting myself get a little bit influenced by my first pick, but I just think red-black sacrifice is such a good deck that I don't mind taking a slightly weaker card here. And we also didn't pass any black in the pack before, so we have a chance to just cut red-black really hard. So even if it's not super open, as long as it's open enough, I might sort of force it and expect a good pack 2. And here there's Claustrophobia, Stalwart Haven, Fetid Imp. Not willing to go so hard in that direction that I take Fetid Imp here over two definitely stronger cards. I think Claustrophobia might be the best card here, and Haven probably goes a little better with Impulse. We passed a couple of blue cards already, which makes me a little bit concerned since blue's a little shallow and want to fight for it. But I think I'm still just going to take it. If blue's really open, here's my chance to get in. And also, I mean, having the Haven show up there might be a signal that white's open, but white tends to be really overdrafted in this set. So even when I see a pack that has like a strong white card in it, there's a decent chance that someone else took a good white card from that pack. Alright, Cruel Revival goes great with an Mtgo Husk. Doesn't look like red's coming through. There's also a Leaf Gilder in this pack. I mean, if I get a lot of black this pack, I would expect to see a lot of red in pack 2, so I could maybe make the black-red sacrifice deck still work. But it could also go into blue-black or something else. Okay, just take a Deadbridge Shaman here. Also Elvish Visionary, Aspiring Aeronaut, and Clash of Wills that are reasonable, but since I know I'm going to be black, I think Deadbridge is a pretty easy pick here. If I knew it was going to be black-blue, you could take a different card, but I'm going to stay open. Okay, not a great pack. There's Guardians of Meletus, Majoring Bully, Hitchclaw Recluse as options. If we go blue-black, then I think Guardians could be good. Green did seem pretty open, so Recluse is an option. And then Majoring Bully, I mean, didn't really see any red that pack, so I can take Bully and just try to get a good red pack 2. It might be worth the risk. If we are black-red, we're going to be a little short on playables, so I think I'll take Bully here. I think Guardians is also fine to go for like a blue-black control deck, but if we are red-black aggro based on trying to get a really good pack 2, yeah, we just might be short on playables from pack 3, so just picking up a 2-drop would be pretty important. And pack 2 might end up really good for us. I think I'll take Cullblade here over Evolving Wilds. Don't have, other than the bully, don't have any 2-drops yet, and just helps us cut black. I think wild is also fine to take here. Wow. Super late Zendikar Incarnate and an Unholy Hunger, so we'll take the Hunger. And I mean, I see Incarnate probably as a sign that green's open, but it must have been a really strong pack. I wouldn't necessarily take it as a red signal, just a signal that someone isn't specifically red-green. And with the Hunger also in the pack, it just must have been a strong pack, so you almost can't read too much into that. But with what we've seen, black seems really open. Evolving Wilds versus Subterranean Scout. I think I just take Scout. I feel like red's going to be really open next pack, and I'm getting enough black in pack 1. I would expect to see good black pack 3. So I think I can actually field a pretty decent deck, and this gives me a 2-drop. It's also a bit of a signal, I think, that it came back. I'm trying to remember, but I feel like it was probably the best red card in the pack. So I don't know. Maybe red isn't horribly overdrafted at this point. And this pack is, well, I mean, there's some random red stuff here. I don't know if that's much of a signal. I mean, any of these 3 cards are kind of marginal. Smash at least is a strong sideboard card, and Rambler is fine as a curve topper. I think I'll take Rambler, but Smash is also fine to pick up there. Take a Return Centaur. Now we'll run out pack 1. So I think it was actually a pretty good pack. We're definitely right to be in black. We got some later than normal, just strong removal spells. We've got a Husk, and I think we're gonna just move into red-black sacrifice. Yeah, just take Fiery Impulse here. Passing Lieutenant, Harbinger, Goliath, Wild Instincts. Now it's possible that there's another color that opens up this pack, maybe blue, but we did pass a lot of blue at the start. Exquisite Firecraft, so we'll take that. Someone took an uncommon here. So we've got a lot of removal for this Malkir Coldblade. So that pick over the Evolving Wilds is looking nice. So I'll hammer it. We'll take Fiery Conclusion over Infectious Bloodlust. If we get some Act of Treason effects, that'll be nice. I think I have to take the Husk, though honestly at the moment the deck wants the Act of Treason more, but like it's just, I don't know, Husk is a much better card on its own. Hopefully the Act will table. I don't know if it will, but I just, like, if this was pack 3 I would take the Act, but this early it's just such a better card on its own. Yeah, I'd rather have a deck that has 3 Husks than a deck that just has 3 Act of Treasons. So it is the more important part of the combo. Weighted Underworld, Necromantic Summons. I'm a reasonably big fan of summons. I feel like you can get a creature in your opponent's graveyard somehow and steal it. We've got a lot of removal. Infectious Bloodlust can also be fine. I think I'll take summons. And here we've got Enthralling Victor, so that's really nice that we picked up all these sack outlets, so this should be really good. Flame Shadow Conjuring, I've had that do some work against me. So far it doesn't look like the deck for it, but it's not going to be as good as Victor here. And Sergeant, Brute, I think Sergeant's probably, like, it's pretty similar to Brute. I think it might be a little bit better. I think the cards are close to even. So yeah, I mean this pack was fantastic for us. The read about like us cutting red really hard, that was definitely true. So we got a lot of great red, and we picked up another husk. And yeah, I expect pack 3 to look good for black. And probably not red, but I mean, if someone else isn't red black sack, they wouldn't be that interested in Act of Treasons, and that's kind of the card we're really looking for at this point. I don't think I want another majoring bully. I think Gold Forge Sentinel is reasonable as a top end finisher, so I think I'll take that, but that's kind of close. Guess we'll take Call the Full Moon. I don't know if we'll play it or not. Infectious Bloodlust. Sentinel seems better than Rambler as a curve topper. I mean, we want our deck to be pretty aggressive, but we also just have a ton of removal, so I don't think we need to play cards that are just like strictly really aggressive. I'd rather play cards that are more flexible, so if we get a good curve, yeah, we can beat opponent pretty quickly, just removing their blockers and beating down with Mtgo husks. But if we don't get a perfect start, or we have to mulligan or something, we still have a good late game. We've just got a lot of removal, can play an attrition game. So yeah, so cards like Infectious Bloodlust, Call the Full Moon, I'm a little less interested in playing. But we'll see how the last pack goes. Maybe we can choose to make the deck a little bit more aggressive if we get a good pack. Alright, there's a Nissa. I think it's worth a decent amount, so I'll pick that up for the ticks. And we're not really passing up much else. Fiery Conclusion, our second one at this point, is not super exciting. We only have the Enthralling Victor. We have a few other ways to sack already. So probably just another Husk over Brute Giant. At this point I can take Act of Treason over just about anything. We've got 4 sacrifice effects. So it's pretty much 3 mana, like kill your creature and do something else with it. Which is going to be better than just about anything we could get past. So I did pass up on 1 act earlier, but now I'm just going to take it over anything. Okay, Sergeant Husk Brute. Kind of an interesting pick. I feel like, I mean, normally in this deck you just take a Husk here, and you know, because we only have 1 Act of Treason effect, it's not as important. Like, Husks are reasonable multiples, but they don't necessarily get better. So I feel like it actually is pretty close here, but I think I'm still just going to take the Husk. Like, at a certain point, Brute or Sergeant could probably be better, but let's take another Husk. Hopefully we can see an Act of Treason. Well, that's a 5th Husk. I think we'll take the Berserker. Fed Imp is also nice. But if you get Berserker, it could be pretty cool. And we've got a lot of removal to force it through, so. And we have just way too many Husks at this point. Yeah, I stand by the Husk over Act Treason pick earlier, but I would easily trade a Husk for an Act of Treason at this point. A lot more decks are interested in Husk than Act of Treason. Well, we got one. So this deck's looking fantastic. I'm pretty excited about this. I don't know how much Nissa is worth, but like we might have already made back our money from the draft, and got a ton of removal, multiple active treason effects. We don't take Read the Bones. Consecrated by Blood could also be good. Just throw it on any of my creatures would be pretty nice, but Read seems pretty good with all this removal. Dragon Fodder, it's pretty good with Husks. So I think I'm going to take it over Chandra's Fury. Could also use another 2-drop. Wow, another Unholy Hunger. Yeah, this deck's fantastic. And another Dragon Fodder. Automaton would also be good. But Fodder is great with 4 Husks. So could cut Vial, maybe a 3-drop. But my 3-drops are all good. Alright, Smash for board's nice. I'll probably cut Vial. Something like this, 17 lands. Nine mountains, 8 swamps. Since our double red is a lot earlier, we've got more red 2-drops. We might want to play Fire Impulse and a red card, and then we've got Berserker on turn 3, where the double black's all for later. And Moto's correct this time. So yeah, this great looking deck. Yeah, it's a ton of synergy. This might be the this is the best red black sacrifice deck I've drafted in this format. So yeah, I'm pretty pumped for this. So that's it for the draft. I'll see you for the games.
If you'd like to purchase Magic Online cards at competitive prices, check out our web store at mtgoacademy.com/store.
Alright, ready for round 1. We'll play first, and hand's very good. Just got turn 2, Mage Ring Bully, backed up by Dragon Fodders to just get it through for multiple turns, and then Husk to just clean up. So, don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but this hand looks like a winner. I think we have every 2-drop except for Coalblade. So yeah, guys, not much of a problem. Let's go for Fodder. Get him for 3. Probably just Fodder again. I mean, could have that -2/-2 to non-elves card. So I could just go Fire Impulse on the Archer and send everything. But if he has a decent 4-drop, then that play doesn't seem great. Just plays better against Eyeblight Massacre. It's an uncommon. He needs to have another swamp. I mean, even if, like, a lot of his turn 3 plays are going to be elves, so he isn't necessarily just going to hold back either, so I think I just fodder and attack with bully. I can also trade a goblin for 1 extra damage here, but I feel like I can get more than that. Another option actually could have just been to go for Subterranean Scout this turn. I could go Scout, target a Goblin, and then attack with the Goblin and Bully. I'd most likely get the same amount of damage in. But the next turn I'd have a 2/1 out, which could trade, I could like send into the Archer. It's Titanic Growth. Okay. That makes me glad I didn't go for the just Fiery Impulse, the Archer play. That wouldn't have worked out too well. Okay. So we go Fiery Impulse, Scout, or we could just play Husk, pass. I kind of like play Husk. I mean, if the opponent has Way of the Underworld, or one of the like Unholy Hunger, they could kill it. But other than those, I mean, it gets past anything other than a Death Touch creature, and we've got Victor if we have a land to steal small creatures. Okay, it has Hunger. So this is the turn I'm finally going to do something about that Archer. Let's see what we draw. No, we drew a Husk. We're gonna wait. Okay, Royal. That's pretty annoying. Fiery Conclusion. So we're gonna just attack with Husk for 2 and play Deadbridge Shaman. Okay. Let's keep sacking goblins. There's Dwynnin. And a land. So we can Conclusion on Dwynnin. we could Victor on Archer or Elemental. Oh, and the Impulse does 3 currently. We've got Spell Mastery. I think I just want to hit the Dwin first. Now, I could also make plays here. Mind the Masses. So it's going to make it 7 toughness. And if I Impulse kill something, it's going to stay at 1. So yeah, I have to just Impulse here. Or I could actually... Well, that's a little risky. I could send Husk and Shaman and hope opponent puts Archer on Husk. But they could also just put Dwinin on Husk. Which, maybe that's okay. Because I might be able to get a free Archer out of this attack, which is pretty nice. Is that worth it? Opponent probably doesn't want to block the Shaman. Yeah, they might just put Archer in front. If they put Dwin in front, I'll just Fire Impulse it, and I set on 2 damage. It's not that big of a deal. But I feel like a good percentage of the time they're going to put the Archer on the Husk. But I don't know, maybe they'll just put the Elemental on the Husk. I guess if I'm sacking creature anyway, but... not sure if this is... I'm not sure how likely they're going to block with Archer here. And if they're not going to block with Archer, then I should just Impulse the Dwinin beforehand to prevent my opponent from making what is a good play in this spot, which is blocking Husk with Dwinin. But if they do block with Archer, then I'm happy with myself. If not, it just comes down to the chance that they're going to do that, and yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, since I'm sacking a token anyway to the Husk, they might just want to put the Elemental in front instead of the Archer. Plus, yeah, I mean, they could get blown out here if I do have Fire Impulse. So from their perspective, maybe they would also just want to put the Elemental in front of the Husk. Okay, so I block with Elemental. Kill Dwinin. And I could sack Shaman here to get the last card. But, I mean, if it's a land, then it's close to even. Nah. I mean, they could also just draw a second land, and then it would take them multiple turns to get the 2/2s into play. And if they do draw a second land, then I'm going to get a discard out of Shaman next turn as well. And, 2-2 versus a 3-1 is kind of close currently. So if I'm just wasting the Shaman for one card, I think I'm better off just waiting. Because there's still a chance of getting a 2-for-1 sometime in the future. Like, if they just have 2 lands in hand, they play one, they get a 2-2, then they can't really block Shaman, it can still get damage through. Okay, they play land. Take a hit from Archer. I think we go Victor here. Five, 7, 9, 11. That's what we could do. I'll just sack the Elemental post-combat, and then next turn we can use Subterranean Scout. In fact, if they play a land, I could even start by sacking the Deadbridge Shaman on their turn. Strange that they didn't do anything there. I could still scout the Husk. Could also scout the Goblin token. Either way, I might as well send everything. I mean, you'd think opponent would surely play a land if they had one, so it looks like they got 2 spells in hand. Could be like Pump Spell and Removal Spell. But they have to play a Removal Spell first. Like, Archer needs to go on Shaman. And currently taking 6. Okay, they have Hunger. It's already gain 2 life. So we just sack the Husk to itself. So that will fizzle. And interesting that they chose to chump there, so kind of looks like they have a great card left in their hand. I'm not sure what that would be. You'd think they would want to just trade for a 3-1. It would be like Languish? No, that doesn't make any sense. Oh, maybe it would. I guess Languish sort of makes sense there. Because they just need to take a turn to kill the Husk. But they'd probably just Languish. Anyway, so they are elves. They've got a couple Unholy Hungers, Dwynnin, Might, and Titanic Growth. Summons could be good. Macabre Waltz could be good. So we don't want to get beat down too quickly, and maybe want some stuff that's good in a longer game. I mean, our deck just seems really well equipped, but a lot of stuff is going to die. And most of our creatures we don't really want to summons back. Opponent had the Dwynnin that would be decent to grab. And then Waltz is kind of similar, but it's more of a value card. So I can get back like a Husk and like another creature. So it's more of a late game card. A little grindier, but Yeah, I'll just submit this. On the draw, I mean, Mountain makes this hand really strong. Swamp, I can buy some time for a little bit. So, I think it's a keep. Like, we do have Husk, Fodder, Acatreason if we have one Mountain. And opponent's removal starts on turn 5. So we even have time to actually use that. And we're in the draw. If we're in the play, I would mull. But on the draw, I think it's a keep. Running 9 Mountains, have maybe like 4 or 5 draws before we're in trouble. Okay. Do have Cruel Revival, so we can get back the Husk eventually. Alright, got the Mountain. So, yeah, just Dragon Fodder. We'll hold on to the Shaman, see if we can find something better to trade with than the Visionary. Opponent just passes back. I'll play Sergeant. Kind of interesting that I had no play. I mean, I'm going to put him on at least one Unholy Hunger, if not multiples. They're probably discarding something pretty good here. It's a Swamp. Okay. Read the Bones is nice. Put this Mountain on top. And another Husk. So we've got Spell Mastery. I mean, opponent does have a lot of cards in hand, but our hand's really powerful. So, I mean, and they don't have much of an offense going on, but I just want to kind of hang around until, and just make sure I don't get beat by anything. And I should have the long game pretty easily. I'm glad they played the Naturalist before I put the Sentinel out there, I'll say that. And yeah, I don't want to do that. I'll just pass. Probably going to Cruel Revival, get back the Husk. And I can even make a big block on the Naturalist. I mean, I don't know if opponent's really going to believe it and go for a trick here. I mean, I could also go block with Sergeant, Fire Impulse, if I wanted to trade Fire Impulse for a pump spell here. I think that could be pretty reasonable. It's more likely to actually, I mean, I guess the upside of opponent going for pump spell here is pretty huge, even though it's never going to happen. In fact, I can still just go for the Impulse here. I'll Impulse. Not entirely sure that it's worth like Impulse trade for might there. But yeah, I don't know. It's a turn. I had the mana up. So let's go Husk. husk here. And if opponent didn't have pump, I guess I could just hold on to the revival. And I sort of wanted to cast the revival there for just use it my mana to get the other husk back, but alright. Steal that Hitch Claw. Opponent might pump it in response to Fizzle here, in which case I might just go for Act of Treason and they don't. So let's make a big attack. Could send tokens in as well, but I don't think there's a need. So opponent could still very well have Unholy Hunger. And they could still have two of them actually. So let's sack the Recluse and induce opponent's Unholy Hunger here. Okay, so we'll sack to the other husk. Renown the Sergeant and pass. Let's try to attack again. Opponent probably just puts Assassin on Husk again. Yeah, it's another induce, but I'm okay with that. I'll sack Husk to itself. So opponent doesn't gain life. Opponent takes 6. Play Sentinels. And if they don't have any more removal, they should be dead here. And that's it. So yeah, deck performed pretty well. Opponent's deck seemed pretty good. But yeah, like the red-black sacrifice deck is just super powerful. I have so much removal, a bunch of threats. We didn't even have. We had some pretty good draws, but I mean, I certainly stumbled a lot in that last game. But it didn't really matter. Opponent didn't put up that aggressive of a start, so we had plenty of time, and then just had too much power in hand. So I'll see you for round 2. Alright, ready for round 2. So we got 4 swamps and red cards, hence not keepable, and 3 removal spells, few lands. We're on the draw, luckily. So it's fine, but hopefully we can draw some creatures. Removal spells are always best when you've got creatures to back them up, so otherwise we'll try to get by. I mean, I have some 2-drops. So I think I'll just impulse that in a turn. Okay, Husks is a great draw. Hopefully we can trade it off and then Cruel Revival it back. My opponent might just use a removal spell on it. So I can get us back from our mulligan. Well, opponent's really bringing on the beats. And yep, we're kind of just stuck here. Would have been great if we had a creature there. Could prevent a lot of damage and maybe take out one of their guys. Instead, we just gotta take a giant hit here. Cobble Brute's okay, as long as opponent doesn't remove our husk now. Okay, so I'm gonna push through the Cobble Brute. I can gain some life off the hunger if I go for revival first, so I can jump sack itself, then revival, probably just the Skyraker. Take 3. Another creature is going to make it pretty tough. I don't think I have outs at this point. Eh, 4 spells against 7. Sideboard doesn't seem that special. We're probably good. On the play, majoring seems nice. Worth considering the necromantic summons. Red-green deck's probably gonna have some big creatures, and which we can kill pretty easily, so we might get decent value for it. But there's not too much that we'd want to cut. And we're going to be on the play, so I want to keep the deck aggressive. Okay, keep this. So we can get the Berserker through either, if we're fortunate, on turn 3, or we can use Subterranean Scout to push it through. It is pretty important, though, that we get a land in the next couple turns. Missing a drop could suck. Let's go with fodder, because I don't, like, I might just go for Scout anyway, just to get stuff on board, but I'd want to use it to force through the Berserker if possible. Land? Nice. No Fire Impulse, looking pretty good. Alright. This hand can deal a ton of damage, so I think opponent needs something pretty special to come back from this point. Oh, and an impulse. Oh wait, I almost messed that up. Coldblade first. And opponent should be dead in 2 turns, 4, 7, maybe just next turn. Let's just Firecraft that. Could act a treason it also. Alright, on to game 3. So we're going to be on the draw. Could make summons a little better. looks pretty good. So, like I think the bully is the only thing you could consider cutting, and like, I honestly think it's fine. We've got a lot of ways to make it +1/+1 on turn 3. You just randomly sack it to Husk late game, and just helps us kind of interact early a little better. So instead of that, yeah, we could put summons in. Better late game card, but I think we're good. Okay, go into 6. We'll keep it. Yeah, this is a pretty awkward spot for bully. Opponent could have a sergeant, so I might just run the Cold Blade out. Unless we draw something. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna Cold Blade. I think it's a little too risky. We don't have any ways to push it through, so if opponent just plays a Crone Sergeant or like Freakus Disciple, we're just gonna lose our bully for free. Okay, they don't offer up the trade. So we'll play Sergeant. We could get really blown out by a variety of pump spells, removal spells. But if they don't have anything, they might not go for the bluff here. But yeah, we could just double block the Brute and kill it. Be pretty risky for opponent to go for, even though on like a Levely Magic scale, like that would be a very effective bluff. Because opponent could really have anything, and I do get blown out if they have something. Even this play, like, they'd just be repping Might of Masses, but if they attack with Brute, you know, it would look pretty scary. You have to think about if your opponent would be willing to make a big bluff like that. But yeah, we don't have too much going on here. Could maybe Victor the Engineer to push through Sergeant, but opponent could even double block Sergeant. It's just force a 1-for-1 trade. So that's not that great. You could just throw bully out. Well, I guess we could. Let's do Scout on Sergeant. Let's just get it renowned. And I think I'm willing to double block the Brute with Bully and Scout next turn. The Bully just isn't going to do a lot. I might get some damage in with it. I mean, as long as the opponent has a 1/3, neither of these creatures are that valuable. And it does pump the Cold Blade up 1. So I think that's an okay trade if opponent wants to send. Chandra's Ignition. Okay. It's a good card in red-green. So we're definitely behind now. Like, probably just have to throw Victor out there just to have something on board. There's the husk. So if opponent has nothing else, we're almost stable here. But they're still going to have the Leaf Gilder, and then Recluse. Recluse doesn't do too much. With this attack, yeah, I think we just double block Brute, sack Victor to Husk, take 2. Yeah, I'm just, I mean, if opponent has Chandra's Fury, it doesn't matter actually, so, yeah, I'm just going to let this resolve, so opponent can put 1 damage on the Husk, compared to if I sack the Victor, either way Chandra's Fury kills the Husk, but this way, if opponent has Fiery Impulse, I don't know if they'd make this play, but it means they can't just completely get me here. Up. Not looking good. So I can just trade the Husk for the Leaf Gilder, go to 3. But I should definitely send the Recluse in, yeah. Alright, that'll do it. Yeah, a bit disappointing. Had some poor draws there, but yeah, opponent's deck seemed very solid. Yeah, I mean, I crushed him when I got a good draw, and then had some weak draws. Though Ignition is pretty strong. So yeah, that'll about do it. Try red-black sack at home. It's a pretty fun deck. It's a lot of interactions, and it's very powerful. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.